Welcome to Vision One Media Artist Shoutout. My name is Ella Beth. I'm your host this episode, and I'm really excited to introduce this new guest to you all because it's actually a friend of mine, as well as being an incredible artist. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Jimmy McFawn.
Hello, hey y'all.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Anytime.
I just told Jimmy as he came into the studios that those sunglasses are honestly, like, they are the moment. Really,
you.
they're so bad. It's kind of giving kind of like Prince vibes, but like more urban.
Thank you. I stole them.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, we love something we didn't have to pay for, right?
Right? Free.
Amazing. So you and I met at Social Fox at Open Mic Night. Shout out Corby and the Social Fox crew, Open Mic Night crew. And you have been performing for a number of years now, correct?
Like in general or at Social Fox?
In general.
In general, yes. I've been performing a very long time since I was young.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm so used to the stage.
Yeah. So how did you sort of get your start in performing?
So I wrote my first song when I was 9, and it was good. So that kind of gave me like the confidence booster to like be like, oh, I can actually do this. So, but my like dream was always to like perform and be on stage and stuff like that. And so I was able to do it at a young age, like talent shows and stuff like that. And I wasn't nervous or shy, so I just went for it. And once I figured out like the technical side behind it, like, you know, singing correctly and all of that good stuff, I was like, it made me more confident and aware of like what I'm doing. And then was like, okay, well, let's just do it, make this a living, a career. It's my dream, so why not?
Yeah. So as an artist and having been performing for a really long time since you were little, was it someone else who was like, you know, you're really good, or did you just realize you're like, I'm just meant to be on the stage?
I think it was a bit of both. So I knew my strengths and weaknesses, but I hadn't, like I said, known the technical side of it. So like when I actually like was able to be taught how to sing properly or taught how to sing and perform in different ways and styles and genres, I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm understanding and I'm learning like the different elements of it all.
Yeah.
And so now I feel more confident in what I'm able to do and execute.
Right.
So now it's like, oh yeah, like, I mean, I know I can sing, but now I know I can really like change it up into something that I'm not used to, or people hearing from and like an artist, like they can fit in one box, you know?
Yeah. So how did you find your sound? Because you've mentioned that you think your forte is in like soul and R&B, like true. Like real classical soul and R&B, which I just love. Like that's where I love to sit in that box too. But how did you sort of find that sound?
I think mainly just being around it so much. Like just growing up, I've heard it like all my life. Heard a lot of soul, a lot of like the great musicians and stuff like that. And so when it came to my music, I kind of branched off into that, but I was like, I didn't really want to be classified as R&B or soul because every black artist gets classified into R&B and soul regardless. So it was like, I don't want to do that. But then I was like, I like sat back and was recording everything. And then when I find myself going into tracks that are more R&B, I'm just like, wow, it just sits so well. I was like, you know what, I can't fight it.
Yeah, you can't get away from it. Absolutely. I feel the same way about R&B, but and soul, but also for me it was jazz. Like jazz is just, doesn't matter when I sing jazz or what I do, I'm just like, this is you know, this is my pocket.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important as an artist to establish what you do really well, because that gives you the grounding to be able to then branch off into other things. So you mentioned to me before we started that you did musical theater.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So, and that's what I meant by being like trained to different styles. I did a lot of like opera, musical theater, classical music in school because like my choir director, Delote, for Shoutout, he's amazing. taught us to like branch off into these different genres, and then that's when it went from that to be having auditioned for like big choirs and like musical theater and performing arts, and having to do I did the Wiz before. I did I've done a lot of things when it comes to stuff like that, and then like auditioning for colleges, musical theater and stuff like that. It was just like, it was really like my lane for a while, or like what I knew would be my lane to the industry, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like, so I kind of like stayed in my pockets in order to get where I wanted to be. Like, so, and I did the same thing with modeling, same thing with musical theater, to like navigate to my music rather than performing other songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great. I believe that musical theater is a great way for, especially, you know, kids and young people to you know, they get to tread the boards and they get to be in front of audiences, usually with an ensemble. So like the pressure's off and stuff. I think it's a great way for young people to get involved in performing and honing their crafts. So that's
I think
really
it's
cool.
very important, especially if you're like learning. I think it's like a good like base to like learn that, and then you can like switch up the style to like more modern music.
Yeah.
But musical theater is like the base for it, I think. Like projecting, performing live, stuff like that, getting used to moving around the stage, everything. It's really the base, I think, at least in my opinion.
I agree with you. It just does wonders for performing. So, okay, that brings me to my next question. You're not just a singer, you're not just a songwriter, you are the whole package, and you really perform.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So how have you developed your performance style as opposed to your singing style? How have you developed like your stagecraft?
I think looking back, it's been kind of a weird journey. So like, I didn't used to be like as confident in movement as I am now. Like I didn't used to like want to dance and all this other crazy stuff. I don't even know why. It was really no excuse. And so like, I think it's just more about like when you put something into your work. Like I worked really hard on the second project, so I wanted the way that I presented it to be how I wrote it, or what I felt like when I wrote it. So if I'm writing a song that's more confident, I'm going to perform in that same light. If I'm writing a song that's more depressed or sad or mental, I'm going to reflect that feeling into my performance on stage. And I think that's mainly what I do. I just act it out in musical theater once again. So like, and I have like the same tendencies. Like I will make sure I'm creating moments. I think I just really learned a lot of that from like watching the artists that I love and how they move, and what I feel like if I was there, I could do better, you know? Like I'll take like, oh, I love this artist and I know that they're good at that, and I know that I'm good at this, so let me try to see how I can like mash it up. Like a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of acting, a little bit of everything, I think.
So who would you say, maybe, can you give me like two names of two people who've really inspired your performing style and your stage craft?
Oh, performing style. Interesting. I would say Chris Brown, Ariana Grande.
Okay.
So, and it's for two very different reasons. So with Ariana Grande, I love her very much. Very, very much. Her
Greatest singer on the planet.
Yes,
I will die on that hill. Ariana is the greatest singer of our generation. I love
Ariana. Now, I praise her up and down.
Objectively, just incredible. Yeah.
Yes, I love her so much. But the reason I mentioned her is because her breath support and her agility and her range and her ability to move and project and change her voice is what I tend to reflect or practice when it comes to, especially when I'm singing live. And then Chris Brown, when it comes to the movement and dancing around and being able to, again, breath support when you're performing a long set, but you still want to keep it energetic and you still want to move, being able to breathe and still perform and be able to hit all those notes. And then I rap as well, so that breath it's just a lot. Yeah. Musical theater. I'm gonna bring it always. I'm always bring it back to musical theater because that's where I learned a lot of that technique.
Right, that was your ground. That was your starting space. I love that. I love that for you and your performance because it does show. Like I think as creative artists and being in the creative scene, we are exposed to so many different people who do so many different things. And obviously, you know, there's people whose songwriting is their just forte, and there's people who like their voice is like their forte. There's people who performing is their forte, and every now and then, I call this the triple threat, like performing, voice, and songwriting, because I've never been a dancer. So, but you can also do that.
Thank you.
But you really are a triple threat in that. So it's
Thank
really
you so much.
really cool. I definitely recommend like. In this next 2023, next year as we're going into it, Jimmy has mentioned that he's going to be doing a lot more performing. I would definitely recommend getting onto one of the shows for sure. So on that note, your goal for 2023 is to be performing. How does that look? You said you've been doing a lot of calling.
Yes. I've been in talks with a lot of people and a lot of like organizations, and just like really trying to make sure that I am putting myself in my career on the forefront for next year, making sure I'm being everywhere, doing everything, making sure I'm always just performing, because it's really honestly what I love to do. And I love to do, to share my music and, you know, my journey through music with other people. And so being able to, you know, travel the world and perform and listen to, you know, people be like, oh my goodness, you know, da 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 da. It's nice meeting you, or meeting other people in general. It's just, that's really what my dream is. My dream is to travel the world and make a living off music alone. And so this is just my next step into doing so.
So where would be your top 3 venues to perform in Atlanta in 2023 that you haven't performed yet? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know much about Atlanta. Let me see. I don't know. A big venue. Let me say that. Oh, actually, I lied. I don't know what their places are called though.
Okay.
But stadiums. So I want to reach a stadium one day.
Okay.
A big audience. Pride.
Oh.
I want to do Pride.
You know what? That would be awesome.
I really want to do Pride.
The Atlanta Pride?
Yeah.
Did you go this year?
I've never been to Pride, actually. Yeah.
Maybe we should, you know what, like we've got each other's, okay, right, we'll talk about that later. I'm like,
Okay.
Oh my gosh, let's go.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Atlanta Pride yet. I haven't been to Pride in America. So
I haven't, I've never been to
excited about.
Pride.
Okay.
So I would love to, like, my first time being at Pride is like on stage and performing at Pride. I would go crazy.
That would be so cool. That would be so cool. So in regards to your music, you had your album come out in 2021. That's your most recent album release, correct?
Yes.
And you did that all yourself?
Yes. There's an exception. I lied. The lead single, which was called Boy Boy, was produced by Petrovsky Beats. Shoutout Petrovsky. The rest of the album I produced myself. It starts off a cappella and then goes into an acoustic track, and then there's a bunch of transitions throughout, and then ends a cappella again. So boom.
Cool. And do you feel like the progression of the music on your album is reflective of you as an artist, like the way that you put the album together?
Yes, I'm actually really proud of that project, and it's been received really well. I was not expecting it at all, and I think that it is a natural progression for me because I listen to a lot of music and am able to sit in those pockets really well from branching from R&B musical theater. So whenever I am challenging myself to create something that's a bit different or a bit out of range, not necessarily out of range, but out of my comfort zone, then I try to go into it with a mindset of being like the most me as possible, and that's what I did. And I feel like I really pushed myself with the project because I did it, or I finished it, completed it during quarantine. And so I didn't have any distractions, and it really made me be like, oh, so you don't have an excuse to not make this excellent.
Right.
Because
you've got all the time.
Yeah, you have all the time in the world. And it's like, it's one of those things where you tell yourself like, oh, I'll get to it. You know, I have work, I have this, I have that. And it's like, well, I don't have that. So let's go in, let's write this music. I sat there, wrote it all on a little paper, wrote the scales, wrote the keys, wrote each individual note. Like I was really on it, rewriting lyrics and everything. I was like, because I just felt like it gave me a mindset of like the world was ending, and I was like, well, what do I want to put out? and what do I want to say and what do I want to, you know, tell people. And it was really about like my dreams at the time, which is what it's called. And so I wake up, write them down, and then turn it into music the best way that I could. And I just felt like the storytelling on the album was really good. The emotion was really good. Just like I listen to it now, like it's old to me, of course, and I bet you feel the same way when you listen to your songs. It's like I kind of get dull about it. I be like, oh yeah, I did this, that's that. But like when I like sit back and reflect, I be like, wow, like
that was really
I did, I really did that.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I could sit back and like like pat myself on the back and like let it just be, let it fly, let it like flourish, and just be like, okay, I'm proud of it, you know?
Absolutely. I know that as artists, it's really easy to get self-deprecating and to be like, you know, and not to always like look at our art and what we've created and see it for like objectively how good it is. It's like, you know, I'm subjective to it. It's mine. But that's really cool. I'm glad that you're able to look at it and view your art and be like, yeah, I did that.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm like, I'm at a space where I don't, where I'm not releasing or trying to like force myself to release new music because I feel like I did such a good job on the project. I just want to keep pushing it until I feel like I don't want to push it anymore. My goal is to create a visual album for it. And I think I'm 6 visuals in. So I have 6 more to go.
6 more to go. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's awesome. And your latest single released this year, 2022, was Danger, which is incredible. Like everything. The song itself is just like stunning. The visuals for it, like
thank you so much.
It was a whole moment. Like it is the moment. Is that kind of the sort of style that you think you want to do more visuals in, or are you just going to be really eclectic with your visuals the same way you are with your music?
I think more eclectic because almost each song has its own like little story or vision that I have. Like I write the treatments for all of my songs. I write the treatments for all of my videos and everything. I basically do a lot of the work and just be like, okay, I want it to be shot like this. I want that. And so that's kind of how Danger was just a progression. So I just want to make sure I'm getting better. Each step of the way. Shout out 7 Deep. He was amazing.
Yes, shout out 7 Deep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's kind of where I'm like moving towards. Like the next visuals, a story specifically to that track. Yeah. Or specifically in the same realm. And so I'm really excited for like what I create because the creating the songs is different from like creating the visuals for me at least. Yeah. And so I have like plans for a lot of the tracks, but I'm ready to see like I wonder how I will feel when I get to like the end.
When you look back and you're like, wow, like this was the whole journey.
Yeah. And so I'm excited.
I'm excited for you for that as well. So before we wrap up, first of all, thank you so much for coming and being a guest.
Anytime.
Like I'm really honored. I'm I'm a bit of a fangirl. Like
thank you truly. So
much. But before we wrap up, can you tell our audience where to find you on social media, and where to find like all over the internet, where to find your music, everything?
You can find me on all socials at Jimmy MCFAN. That's JIMMYMCF as in Frank AN. And on all streaming platforms, Jimmy MCFAN. I hope you guys like it.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that they're going to. You definitely will. So thank you so much for joining us. And for you all out there who've been watching this interview, if you would like to come and be a part of the Vision One Media Artist Shoutout, we would love to have you on here. So please DM us. You can DM me at Ella Beth Music on Instagram or Vision One ATL on Instagram. Just let us know about you, about your music. We'd love to have you come and be on our podcast and to be able to show more people and get you more exposure. So let us know and we'll be seeing you all soon.